Good evening, it's Mike. Welcome back to my train room for What's on the Shelves, Part 2, Wall number 2. Hope everyone enjoyed Part 1 that's watched it. I've received some questions and some good feedback, so thank you. So let's talk about this wall. We'll start at the top and work our way down. So at the top, we have a Wabash Trainmaster, Lionel Legacy, cab 550. I believe Mr. Muffin's Trains made another one that I missed. I've only seen it for sale once that didn't have the Wabash red logo flag on it. And it's like 551. So that's one that's on my list to get because it was a limited edition run. So that is my favorite Trainmaster that I have. Close tie to the Virginian, but I like the Wabash quite a bit. That did run here in Missouri, so sort of partial to that. Next, we have a Lionel Vision Line GS4. Pretty sure I have a video on this one on my page. It's cab 4457, and this one was the Vision Line freight set that came with the Vision Line box cars, the Vision Line livestock car. Then I added on these two Southern Pacific flat cars. It would have been the right era. I have the other three somewhere because on these flat car sets they made Southern Pacific, New York Central, Pennsylvania, Railway Express Agency, Milwaukee Road. I can't remember all the ones, but it was New York Central Pacemaker. But you could buy two car sets and then a single car. So you could have 5 individual road numbers. And they have wood decks and very detailed. My favorite cars with trailers for sure. Then the Vision Line caboose. The caboose that came with the Vision Line set is right there. So if we work our way down here, it's an M3 turbine, steam turbine. This is an MTH Premier Proto3. I've never really gotten around to getting this upgraded yet. I bought this engine last year and its size is ginormous. I mean, you see it, there's a pretty big steamer and it's almost the length of the steamer and a tender just for the locomotive. So it is a monster. And then these are later C&O passenger cars from the more recent Proto3 set. You can see on MTH you can tell if they're newer cars because the diaphragms look more realistic. And then you also have passengers in the cars. So the MTH passenger cars that have 5 digits after the 20 typically will have figures. The ones that have 4 digits after the 20 will have 100% rubber diaphragms and they won't have figures. So there's the 4 cars I have on display for that set. So we'll make our way back down again. All right, so here we have a MTH Proto3 cab 9010 Union Pacific 412-2, non-articulated. So this thing is a beast going around the rails. I know Lionel just released some more 412-2s, and their most recent, I think they're in stores right now, with the legacy version. So like I said, this is Proto3. Very detailed, very good tender. I love the chains. I love all the round Vanderbilt style looking tenders. They're some of my favorite tenders out there. And you see I have a lot of engines that have that style. Then here's more of those flat cars with trailers. I have 4 of the 5 Union Pacifics out on display. And then I have an MTH Proto3 U50C. Crazy looking locomotive, really flat front cab. Check that guy out. I said, this is Proto 2. And this locomotive was actually running for the Union Pacific. You will see later I have this in Norfolk and Western. That was like more of a what if. I don't think they ever had it. That's on a different wall. So let's move back down again. All right, so if I were to say, what is Christian's favorite locomotive that we own, it would be this Union Pacific big boy. This is 4014. I've run this in a video. This is Premier Proto3, and it is the excursion version with the high gloss paint. It was a really tough decision between going with the Lionel when it was out or this, and I opted for this one because I liked the glossy tinder and the glossy locomotive. I thought it was very sharp, other than it takes fingerprints like crazy. That's something I didn't think about. But I do love this locomotive as well. I sold my Proto2 4014 coal burner to one of my friends for like $700. When I heard this was coming out, I gave him a great deal on it. His son really loved Union Pacific, and I was happy that I could make it affordable in their price range for them. And now they run that engine all the time. I almost go, wow, why did I sell it? I should have kept the coal burner too. But I already had 4012 in Legacy. All right, so the Jim Adams tender, the Joe Jordan tender, which is running on the rails with the big boy right now. Then we saw this. This is a SD70M Union Pacific. Cab 4015 was actually running in the excursion, not 4014. They did take cab 4014 SD70M out of service. That's why I bought this. So when they needed the number for 4014 back in the roster for the big boy, they took this locomotive out of service and, you know, changed the number on it. I should say took the road number out of service and changed the number. And that's where you see the 4015 partnered with the 4014 out on the tour. Then MTH Premier flag car, and this is a Weaver box car that I just really liked. Route of the Big Boys, Union Pacific with the Shield, the Overland route. Weaver had some really amazing looking box cars. They didn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for having some of the first truly good detail box cars and overall rolling stock. Then I made a video on this one. This is the Lionel Legacy Santa Fe Flyer. The cars are not out. This was a locomotive that came with a 4-car set. This is from like 2020, and 4 cars. Then you had a 2-car add-on. One of the only sets not to have 7 cars total, because the 4-car set included a Station Sounds diner. The 2-car set, you know, was sold separate, but they didn't make a 7th car since the Station Sounds diner already came with the set. So I'll be curious to see if they bring out anything. I thought about adding the Shadow Line 2-car set to it just to expand the set. It's all silver though. There's no red and yellow stripe on it. So this was a long awaited engine. I almost bought this set in N scale. I know Weaver was the only one making this in O scale up until Lionel just released this. So then we have Santa Fe 3751. You see this running a lot. This is one of my most run locomotives. This has Rail Sounds 5. It is not Legacy. Sounds amazing, runs good. This is actually from Richard L. Coon's collection. Whenever it was up for sale on Pace and Hong, I acquired quite a bit of his collection over the 4 or 5 auctions that they had back in like 2017, 2018, right when I first started collecting O-gauge. Then we have a MTH Premier 2-10-4 Texas cab 5012. I did order 5011 since Lionel acquired this mold, and it will come with Legacy and Whistle Steam. And 5011 is at the Museum of Transportation here in St. Louis, so I'm waiting for that locomotive to come in. Hopefully maybe December, January timeframe. Then this Santa Fe was one of my very first Legacy engines that made me go, wow, there is a difference when you're running some Legacy and running with the remote control over conventional. This is a ATSF Atlantic. This is an early Legacy, so it runs really good, does not have whistle steam. Really like this guy. Always been a good runner. I have a lot of run time on that guy. All right, moving down to the next row. So here we have, man, this is a top 5 favorite locomotive. This is a SP2 Southern Pacific 4-10-2. This is a third rail brass with TMCC and cruise, and just amazing, incredible, beautiful detail. No one else has really made this locomotive in O gauge. So I mean, look at all of the detail on this guy. Cab figures, all the cab detail in there. Tender, again, you have the Vanderbilt style tender, round, and this is an oil burner. So Southern Pacific, told you guys, that's one of my main lines. And you can see Santa Fe's up there too. All right, next, you've seen the video on this when I first bought it. This was the third rail brass MT4, another amazing locomotive. Southern Pacific, cool tender, TMCC, cruise, great detail. Then you saw this video too, third rail brass M4 Yellowstone locomotive. And this is the one that had really good detail, but prior owner repainted the tender to be Union Pacific. Haven't done anything about that yet, because we know Union Pacific did not have any Yellowstones. They had big boys. Speaking of Union Pacific, I like this guy. This is a third rail brass Challenger. It does have TMCC, but does not have cruise. And what's different about this is it is an early Challenger. So it has the short coal burning tender. It is an early cab number, 3900. Very good detail. Just clean. Cool looking locomotive. And you know, Broadway Limited just brought these out in HO scale, and they're amazingly beautiful for HO fans out there. But they're coming up in price. They're close to $800 these days for a good HO steamer, and still cheaper than buying O gauge, but you don't get the size and the excitement of seeing something this big running around the layout. So again, I mean, just great detail. They do a great job. All right, the last locomotive on this shelf is a MTH Premier set. This is a Proto3 Blue Goose. So Santa Fe Blue Goose with Proto3. I was able to find this set with the 4 passenger cars, and they're the newer style passenger cars, again, with the diaphragm, because this is a newer set. I love this locomotive in this set. This is probably, I don't know, second or third favorite set that I own. And again, MTH Premier, can't go wrong with Proto3. Then there's the cars to it. All right, now we will shift gears to my layout real quick, because I had so many things in those curio cabinets that I wanted to pull them off the top and pull them out so you could see the locomotives in detail. So I have a Proto3 MTH Premier 440 Empire State Express cab 999, and you can see it's really dusty. I was going to show you, this is a makeup brush. Watch. So some of you ask, well, what do you do to keep your locomotives from getting all dusty being out on display? So it takes me all of 1 minute to dust off a locomotive that's been really dusty, and it does not harm the finish. These are $1 at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if everyone has those by you. You can stock up on them. Just a makeup brush. Leaves no hairs, no fibers, doesn't scratch the locomotive. Even a glossy black finish, it doesn't scratch the locomotive. Does a great job of removing the dust. There we go. Compared to that. So I'm using my left hand. I'm not left-handed because I'm holding the video of the phone with my right hand. So excuse the awkwardness. So B&O, oh, go back to Empire State Express. I have the Premier passenger cars, 5 of them to go with that. Then I have this B&O 440. I got this for Father's Day, my first year in O-Gauge. One of the local hobby shops had it, and it was $9.99 for the locomotive and 4 passenger cars in the set. And that was a tremendous value, especially considering 2 car sets are selling for what, $350, $380 now that Lionel has the mold. So you're looking at almost $800 just for the 2 cars. And then the locomotive, MTH, I bought that one separately, and I think I paid with my discount like $819 on my pre-order for that. And then, like I said, you could get that whole set with 4 cars for $9.99. That was a really good deal. I do have 5 or 6 passenger cars for that now, so a 4 car set and a couple add-ons. Then I have the Pennsylvania version, cab number 1504, and I have 7 passenger cars to go with that guy. Then we have, and that's MTH Premier Proto3 as well. Then I have MTH Premier Proto3 Leviathan 440, a little bit smaller diameter drivers than the other locomotives have. And this guy is a wood burner. The other ones are all coal burners. And I love the smokestack on this. All these locomotives are really fun to run and really detailed. Then I have a Long Island Proto2 440 with a little less aggressive cow catcher than the other ones have, and a lot more subtle looking front end. And that's 440. Has the biggest coal load of the bunch. And I like the little light on the back of the tender. Good detail there. Then the last couple things we'll cover. I'm not going to get to everything in the cabinets because we're coming up on 20 minutes. Got a Lionel Legacy Norfolk and Southern ES44. Then we have a MTH Premier Rock Island. This is probably in my top 5 favorite diesels. I love the paint scheme. Rock Island. MTH Proto3, I believe. And Premier Series ES44. So really cool looking locomotive there. And then we'll get just the top of these cabinets and we'll stop. We have a SD70 Ace, Conrail, Norfolk Southern, Lionel Legacy Heritage. And then we have a Dash, is it Dash 8 or Dash 9? I can't remember. It's an MTH Premier Santa Fe, cab 802. And that has Proto2. So we're going to stop there for tonight because we've covered 20 minutes worth of locomotives. And Hopefully everyone's enjoying this series. You know, be curious to see what other people have in their collections. Do you collect a certain road? Do you collect based on memories? Do you, you know, have favorite era of stuff? You know, I just tend to be all over the place. Just a trained nut. So that's what I have for tonight. Until next time, hope everyone has a good evening, and I'll see you later. Thank you.